open up with prayer. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our show. This is the Al Islam Center and Community Issues Group show. We have a very informative show today. I'll be your host, Brother Benjamin Shabazz, and my brother here is our special guest, Brother Julius. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Okay. So we want to start off the show by giving all appreciation and credit to Almighty God Allah for allowing us to be alive and do this show. So we'll just start off really with a nice Bismillah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah. So we want to revive a tradition that we used to have a long time ago, which was doing movie reviews. And the purpose of doing the movie reviews was to give our public a sense and a heads up on some of these movies that they may have seen or may not have seen, but also for our parents out there, family people out there, let them know which movies is suitable for their kids or not to bring to the movies. And also, for those who have children that their children go to the movies on their own, maybe their parents can, let them know what's inappropriate or which is appropriate. So we're trying to be helpful. That's the purpose of this thing. So Brother Julius, we have did a review of 8 movies, right? So we got
Right.
Birth of a Nation,
Right.
Moonlight,
Right.
Hidden Figures, Fences, Manchester by the Sea,
Right.
Rogue, Star Wars movie,
Right.
Patterson, and Arrival.
Right.
So we don't have a lot of time, but we want to try to hit all these movies. So now I've seen Arrival and the Star Wars movie, Rogue.
Right.
Now, did you see any of those?
I saw Road.
Okay, so what's your assessment of Rogue?
I thought it was a remake, I think, of Empire Strikes Back, if I'm not sure. But it wasn't that great of a movie to me. It was okay. I liked Forrest Whitaker. He was pretty good in it. It's like the warlord. And so, yeah. I mean, you could see it on DVD, but I don't think it was the best movie.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. And it's a shame they put Forrest Whitaker in it because that's a draw right there.
Right.
You want to see it because he's in
Right.
it. And he played a nice, powerful part. But for me personally, the movie as a whole, it's a TV movie.
Right.
It's a TV movie. So, but your Star Trek fans live and die by anything that's put out that got Star Trek labeled on it.
Right.
I know one of our producers in the control room back there, he loves it, man.
Right.
He loves it. But so I say it's a DVD movie.
Right.
Watch it on, and so if you can get a bootleg, go ahead on and do that. But to spend your money to go see it, unless you're a diehard Star Trek fan,
Right.
it wasn't that exciting.
Right.
Can we move on?
Yeah.
All right. So the next one is Arrival. Did you see Arrival?
I didn't see Arrival.
Okay. Another Forrest Whitaker draw. He was in that one.
All right.
He played a nice pro. He was a military man.
Right.
But I got a chance to see it, and to make a long story short, all it does is put you to sleep because it has a science fiction attraction, right?
Right.
These strange objects come from nowhere. It's like 12 of them, and they position themselves in certain positions all over the planet, right? So nobody knows what they're there for, what it's all about, and so when you look at that in the previews, that's attracting. Yeah, we got to figure out this mystery,
Right.
Then they show you Forrest Whitaker running around in his military uniform on, being all authoritative and everything. Yeah, I got to see this movie, But then when you get ready to see it, it's like, man, my grandkids could have wrote the script. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you want to go somewhere and get out the house and get away from the family or get away from your problems and you want to go somewhere and get a nice rest, go see this movie. It'll put you right to sleep. All right, can we move on?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
All right, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that was, I believe, Nate Parker.
Yeah.
That he somehow found the story of Nat Turner, and he wanted to make a film about it. And I think this film didn't get as much steam because of his personal problems in the past, but it was a good movie because it showed that people fought actually, not just being passive in our journey to where we are now. So that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Uh, I remember seeing a Facebook, them little pictures that flash on Facebook, a meme,
Right.
whatever you call them, and there was a little black boy sitting in his classroom, and he was looking like this, and he said, "When are they ever going to show me about some slaves that fought back?" You know,
Right.
and this was one of them, and it showed you how the slave master used the Bible to domesticate the slaves.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they had this brother who was Nate Parker, who was Nat Turner, who was a preacher, and he had learned how to read the Bible.
Right.
So they took him around to all the different plantations to read from the Bible to keep the slaves, domesticated in their mind.
Right. Right.
But he started seeing some of the atrocity that was going on, and he started getting a different interpretation of the Bible.
Right.
And that's what gave him the motivation to cause the uprisings.
Right.
Yeah, it's worth seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
It's worth seeing.
It's on DVD now, so
Okay.
if you get a chance to go see it or pick it up, pick that up.
Yeah, get a chance to see it, pick it up. It's very inspirational. And people say, well, I don't want to see another slave movie, but this is more inspirational than it is domesticating, so to speak.
Right.
And in terms of Nate Parker, he played in a lot of good movies. He played in The Great Debaters,
All right.
remember?
Yeah.
And remember Denzel was in that, and they introduced the whole Willie Lynch concept.
Right.
Remember that? But Great Debaters was a powerful movie.
Right.
He played in a lot of other movies too.
Yeah. Yeah. He's pretty big in Hollywood.
Yeah, and he plays in a lot of positive roles.
Yeah.
I ain't never seen him in a dress yet.
Right.
You know, he doesn't do anything to demean, the black image of a man. So give him credit for that. And just as a by the way, I don't know where people come from. They try to blemish this movie by talking about his past, that he had raped some white girl, but then he was acquitted.
Right.
So it's like they bringing up his past with an alleged charge on him, as if he was guilty, to try to smear his name and smear this movie.
Right.
So, just some more games out there. So Birth of a Nation, not only was it a good movie, but it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, can we move on?
Yeah.
Moonlight.
Moonlight. I think you're older than me, so we have a little bit different opinions on Moonlight.
Okay.
I thought, because, you talk to a lot of people about the gay movement or whatever, and I don't agree with it, but, there are some people like that. And, I don't think we should discriminate against them or harass them because of that. And, in the movie, he got harassed quite a bit. And so...
well, he got harassed as a youngster.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, and during that time period, that's how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I thought Moonlight was one of the best revealing strategies of how the devil infiltrates the minds of our black youth. I think it was a well put together strategy, put in the form of a movie, to talk to our young black people that might be curious about their sexuality.
Right.
And it put it in such a way that they validated it and they normalized it. But the reality, what's being left out, this whole thing about homosexuality, is this chemical called atrazine. And I would like our listening audience, our viewing audience, to Google this word, look this word up. It's atrazine, A-T-R-A-Z-I-N-E. It's a chemical made by Monsanto that's used as a pesticide, right? And then it goes into the groundwater. And then eventually it goes into our water, what we drink.
Right.
Now, that's what they tell us as to how we're getting, how it's affecting us because it comes into the groundwater through pesticide.
Right.
But what they're not telling us is that they're putting it in the foods and everything. You eat at these fast food restaurants,
Right.
nobody knows what's in that food.
Right.
It's all processed. This atrazine, a scientist blew the whistle on it because he was working on it. A brother blew the whistle on it. He said that it changes the sexes in mammals. They got frogs and things that have been exposed to this thing, and they're being born, the offspring are being born with sex changes, or with double sexes, with double sex organs and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So, see, that's the part that's not being told. So you pumping the society full of chemicals, right? That's going to give the male more estrogen and the female more testosterone. And so as youngsters, they don't know what's going on with their body.
Right.
So they start feeling funny. What's going on? So then here comes the devil that grabs them up, says there's nothing wrong with that. You see, it's okay.
I had a question for you. Like a pivotal scene in the movie is when he's getting chased down and he goes and hides, and like the local boss finds him in an abandoned apartment, and he takes him in, like adopts him, and he asks the man, what is a faggot? So he's really young, the kid is, and the man, tells him that's what you call a gay person, to demean him or what have you. And could you elaborate on that, your thought?
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. They build up this older dude as being a good guy and a role model for this young boy. They build up his mother being a crack addict, not being responsible. Mm-hmm. So the young kid is confused already about what life is all about. Now he got these homosexual feelings, and he asked somebody he thinks he can trust,
right,
what does faggot mean? And he says, oh, it's a way to make gay people feel bad. And then he says, but don't feel bad, something like that, right?
Right.
Then he asked him, he says, well, how do you know if you're gay? You see?
Right.
Then he says, oh, you'll know. You see what I'm saying? So that exchange right there was powerful, because the brother could have told him that if you feel that way, get that shit out your head, or right, something like that, right. Or he could have said, well, what's a faggot? It says a faggot is something you don't want to be, or something like that,
Right.
But he condoned it, validated it, and normalized it.
Right.
See, so this is insidious.
Right.
When I first heard that word insidious, I went and looked it up. Insidious, it's of the devil. It's of the devil. Because you got a lot of young boys out there, and young girls too, that are experimenting with their sexuality. And if they don't have a mother or a father or somebody who's got their head on straight to teach them away from thinking like that, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Every movie you go to, just about, they got some kind of homosexuality in it. Cartoons got homosexuality in it.
Right.
You know, and they're normalizing it now where two men can marry and adopt kids. Two women can marry and adopt kids.
Right.
You see? So, and people say, well, ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, and people do what they want to do, but the simple fact is that where's your belief system? See?
Right.
If you believe in God, in any shape, form, or fashion, you know that God condemns it.
Right.
And every empire that we read about, you know, they teach us all about these Caucasian empires, right? Rome and all these different places. They all fell because they reached a point of immorality. They all were practicing immorality. And homosexuality was high on the table, high on the scale. And they all fell.
Right.
They all fell because they lost respect, you know, for their own human nature.
Right.
So now, my recommendation, I think every black parent should see this movie to show you the steps and the strategies of how your young child can be affected. But don't take your kids to see it because the message will slip right into their head, zoom. While you out getting popcorn and you won't be able to comment on it and say, now see, now you see how he did that he should have said this, you know. You getting popcorn and the little boy is getting this man, zoom, and it flashes. And he thinks, okay, you know, well, I must be gay, you know, because I had these funny feelings inside of me. But every parent should see it. Anybody who works with kids, you know, like these coaches and things, should see it. So when you recognize something like that, you'll be able to check it in these youngsters. But don't bring your kids to see it, no. That's my take on Moonlighting.
All right. So we're gonna talk about Hidden Figures.
All right, Hidden Figures. Go ahead.
Hidden Figures is a story about 3 black women during the 60s working for NASA. And one of the ones, Taraji P. Henson, she was marked as gifted. And her parents went to the school to talk to the school about her getting in a gifted program. And she was so smart. She was like in elementary school, and she would look at stained glass window, and she would say, "What? Isosceles equilateral rhombus, geometric figures." You know, so she was just born with a gifted mind. So, and there was 2 other women, Dorothy and Mary, and that was Octavia Davis and Janelle Monáe. And Janelle Monáe is also in Moonlight. And Dorothy was the mother of the group, and she learned how to program IBM computers in the 60s when a computer was like maybe a third or half the size of this room. And by doing that, she made herself more of an asset, because after their mission was over, they were probably gonna get fired or cut. And Mary's character, that's Janelle Monáe, she I don't know what degree she had, but her supervisor was a Polish Jewish guy, and he had been through the Holocaust. And he asked her, why doesn't she try to become an engineer? And she's like, there are no black women engineers. And he told her, he said, I got through the Holocaust, and y'all are gonna get through this. And he was like, petition the court so you could be an engineer. And she did. And what she told the judge during the court was, he was like, you were the first one from your family to go to college. So, and she asked him to make her the first, you know, woman engineer. And he let her take classes to become an engineer.
But at night.
But at night. But
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, he did it.
Yeah.
He did it, yeah.
And that was, she was probably the most inspirational character, was Mary.
So my recommendation, Everybody should see that movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, take your family, take your kids, take children that you know need to go see it in your neighborhood that don't have no family that's going to inspire them to see it.
Right.
Take them to see it. Instead of kids going to see all these crazy horror movies, Split and Bye Bye Man and all this stupid stuff.
Right,
You know,
right.
this is a very inspirational movie, and not only is it inspirational, but it's a true story.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
It's a true story. And John Glenn, I think, what, the first man they put in space?
Yeah.
The whole thing would not have happened if it wasn't for these black women.
Yeah.
And they figured out how to keep the heat shield on the capsule
Yeah.
because it kept coming off,
Right.
and they figured out how to keep it on there. They also figured out the proper trajectories of where he was going to land.
Right.
You know, based on the rotation of the Earth and the influence of the moon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
They were the only ones that were able to do that. This is the important thing about this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, white folks was dumbfounded.
And their job was, they were called computers because in the 60s, a computer wasn't a Mac or a PC, it was a person because they had to do all these figures by hand. And so I thought that was interesting,
There's something.
the evolution of the computer.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing about Hidden Figures is that this information was suppressed for over 60 years from the public.
Right.
Suppressed. And why would something like this be suppressed? That's why people talk about, well, why you need Black History Month. Specifically for things like this.
Yeah.
This is American history. This is one of the most important events in America, the race for space.
World history.
Thank you. Thank you. And they kept it suppressed. Why did they keep it suppressed? To keep the confidence of the black men and women down.
Right.
Down. That all you good for is menial jobs, menial labor, menial thinking, menial success. Don't think about doing anything that means something to society. That's reserved for white people. And in the movie, they showed the racism where, you know, she drank out the coffee pot.
Yeah.
'Cause she
And
had-
it wasn't overt racism. Go ahead.
Yeah, it wasn't overt like a race movie,
Right.
but you saw the little inferences of it when she went to drink out the coffee pot, and she just went and got a cup and poured up. All the white folks turned around and looked.
Yeah.
And then the next day, they had her a little bitty pot about this big, and they had the big mechanical pot over there.
Right.
And then the other thing was that she kept leaving every day. And the boss, what was his name?
That was Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. Yeah. They had him. He said, "Where is she? Where do you go every day?" She says, "There's no colored bathrooms in this building." And he's, "What are you talking about?" You know. And she says, "I gotta go." What? She had to go 45 minutes away
Yeah.
every day just to use the colored bathrooms. So he eventually tore down the sign and everything, and she was able to drink out the same coffee pot, and he tore down the side of white-only bathrooms, or colored bathrooms. Now there's no colored bathrooms. Go to the bathroom where you want to go. But the point, this movie is very inspirational because we have a lot of geniuses walking around amongst us,
Right.
you know, and they need to be energized.
Right.
Instead of using all that talent and all that energy into doing something that's self-destructive or destructive to others, you know, turn it into something positive. It's an excellent movie. It's an excellent movie. And I remember when you seen it, you texted me, you said, "This is a good movie. This is a powerful
Yeah.
movie, man."
And it's shown in the box office. It's doing very well in the box office.
That's good. All right. Shall we move on?
Fences.
So we did Birth of a Nation, Moonlight, Hidden Figures. So we on Fences.
Yeah.
Okay. And we got 3 minutes.
All right.
So So let's rumble.
So you could start.
Well, Fences, you know, was a play, original play
By August Wilson.
August Wilson, who resided in Seattle at one
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And I seen it years ago. It had James Earl Jones in it.
Right.
Now it has Denzel in it. And on a personal note, it's a good play, a good movie. Personally, I didn't like Denzel in the part because I think his character was just too strong.
Right.
I think he was what they call it, overshot the whole thing.
Right.
But you know, it's a good movie. It's worthwhile seeing. I put it like that.
I think growing up in the black community, this movie was great, showing the black experience. It deals with poverty, infidelity, military service, sports, prison, music. You know, it hits all those points well, and it shows dealing with relationship between a father and a son. And I thought it was a good example because a lot of us have that kind of relationship with our father, if we had at all. So would you like to expound?
Well, based on how you just seen it, I might go see it again. Our time is running down. We got to work our way on out of here. We got about 30 seconds. So, Brother Julius, I'm glad you could spend some of your time to share with our viewing audience.
Thank you.
And I think we're gonna put this on YouTube also at Al Islam Center Community Issues Group. And we want to thank Allah for giving us the ability to go out and watch some of these movies. And we're gonna keep on doing this. We're gonna make this a regular thing, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we want to thank our audience for watching and tune in again to the Al Islam Center and Community Issues Group programs. And we want to say Assalamu alaikum and continue to have a good day.